John Steuart Curry is very special. John Steuart Curry is a Kansas artist who really is famous for being a Kansas artist. His claim to fame is that he is one of the Regionalist triumvirate, the three best-known Regionalist painters from the Midwest in the 1930s. The other two were Grant Wood and Thomas Hart Benton. John Steuart Curry is probably most famous for the murals that he did at the Topeka Statehouse, the Kansas state capitol. He was commissioned in 1937 to paint scenes of Kansas history. The Topeka and Shawnee County Public Library owns two prints, both lithographs by John Steuart Curry. They were made in the early 1930s, and they both show a lot about Curry's experiences in Kansas. This one is called Prize Stallions, and it is an image of a worker who is trying to control a very strong-spirited horse. The image probably comes from Curry's stint with a circus. He went traveling with a circus in 1932. And the image would show the workers, the pieces that he did would show the workers at work, not just the drama and the sparkle of the circus itself, but everything behind the scenes that fascinated him as an artist. Our other print by John Steuart Curry is called The Tornado. And this is one of those things that Kansas will always be associated with, probably because of The Wizard of Oz. But we are part of Tornado Alley. What has always happened with tornadoes is that people take cover and they try to get underground. So the print shows a family who are rushing down to their root cellar, down to a basement area, and you can see the storm coming in behind them. Everybody knows what to do, and they are rushing to get everything safe, everyone getting safe. Unfortunately, our print of the tornado was damaged by some kind of liquid being on the paper. And we can see in the paper where there's a lot of discoloration how it got dark from the water damage, and then where someone tried to bleach it themselves. This is one of those examples about why we shouldn't try to do conservation at home. The conservationists study chemistry, they study art history, and they study the art studio that they want to restore. We don't have that knowledge. So what should have happened with this print is that it got sent to a paper conservator, because it really damaged the value of the print, and it's one of those that now we look at it twice before we even want to show it, really. It's still a valuable piece, it's still something that tells us about Kansas history, but that damage is one of the things that we sure wish wasn't there. John Steuart Curry is special because of what we can learn from him. The regionalist artists wanted to be very much reflecting where they lived. That was their whole goal. So they painted what they knew, they painted what they saw around them. While they might try to make those things noble, they didn't try to make them over-glorified. Their work is different from what we might associate with the Renaissance or with Greek classical sculptures. They weren't trying to make things perfect. They wanted to reflect things the way they were. What you'll see is their style coming through with Midwestern views. They're trying to show the undulations of the hills. They're trying to show the sturdiness of the workers' bodies. You'll look at the space, and instead of looking like it goes on forever, it'll be kind of compressed, more like it's going on in layers behind the scene, rather than something that they're using classical perspective on, because they weren't worried about those things. They wanted to celebrate what they knew and what they lived with. Curry eventually left Kansas and wound up teaching at the University of Wisconsin for the rest of his career, but he was always associated with Kansas and with being a Kansas artist. He became very well known and famous in New York City, and the association was not with Wisconsin, but with Kansas.